Hi, today we're going to be taking a look at the He-Man mini comics, specifically the Masters of the Universe mini comics that first came out with the original Masters of the Universe toys, action figures, and playsets. They used to come with these little mini books. Now, everyone calls them mini comics because that's what they became, but the original four were actual storybooks with this amazing Alfredo Alcala art. So let's dig into this now before I begin. Of course, there's this thing, the Masters of the Universe mini comics collection. This is awesome. It's from Dark Horse. Let me see if I can get the logo on here. There you go. It's from Dark Horse Comics. This is outstanding. Zoomed way in so I could zoom in on these things, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the originals because I have them. And right off the bat, I want to say these three are probably American. This is bilingual. It's English and French. So let's take a look at these because I had some of these original ones when I got my Skeletor and Panther and He-Man and Battle Cat. What's great about having the originals as well is that you get the original stuff. Like there's some cross-sell on the back that we'll take a look at. The original He-Man did not hold his mighty sword in the air and say, "I have the power." He was a jungle man that lived with his tribe, and he saved a green goddess who later became sort of like the template for Tila, and was given this harness and everything that gives him like superhuman strength. So there you go. That's basically how He-Man came to be in these original comics. Here's Skeletor and Beastman looking a bit different here with the little Hershey's Kiss head. So here's the French on top and English on bottom. Here's Tila fighting Beastman. I love the way they look here. It's more of that sword and sorcery sort of look. Here's Castle Grayskull. And in the beginning, it seems like they didn't really know what to do with Castle Grayskull. It does hold secrets and everything. Skeletor is able to get in here. And Skeletor reveals that he's from another dimension that has all these different Skeletors there. So that's the original origin of Skeletor. And once he gets the two halves of Power Sword, so he has a Power Sword and He-Man has a Power Sword. And when you join them together, he can open an interdimensional portal to bring his hordes of other Skeletor characters into this world and defeat it. And it's a nice little illustration of the inside of Castle Grayskull as it was depicted in the toys. Here's one platform where he has Tila tied up. Here's Man-at-Arms with one of the vehicles from the original sets of He-Man. And here you go. He-Man gets into it. And now, here it's depicted as not really flying, but just like teleporting places. Here's Skeletor and Beastman again. The only two villains this time out. He-Man snarled Beastman. So Beastman's using the laser gun from the Castle Grayskull playset. And this makes a great use of all the toy features in these stories. Here's a top-down view. It's pretty awesome. This is a classic illustration of Skeletor. So here Man-at-Arms is using one of his vehicles, and He-Man is without his power harness. And here comes the Green Goddess. Here's Tila without her tiara thing. And it's a classic picture of all of them fighting each other. And they run off Skeletor and Beastman. And here's the spirit of Grayskull here. And here's a rare look at Tila's horse. There's a unicorn. And on the back, you got a cross cell. Man-at-Arms, Battlecat, Skeletor, He-Man, etc. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. King of Castle Grayskull. Illustrated book with purchase. There you go. Printed in China, 1981. 2000 Mattel, so this is a 2000 reissue. And here you go. On his way home from battle, He-Man, the greatest of the Masters of the Universe, halted Battlecat near the mysterious fortress Castle Grayskull. Near Skeletor trying to get into Castle Grayskull again. Castle Grayskull always looked like, to me, Skeletor's hangout. Because it's a big skull. So yeah, Tila listened to as the spirit of the castle spoke. Legend tells of a warrior who will find the spirit halves of the power sword. So here's Stratos. And he's got this weird depiction. This was in the action figure as well. His legs are hairy. He's just a weird dude. He's got a longer mouth, sort of like a beak, but it's just a mouth. So here, Merman defeats He-Man. He-Man does not have his battle harness, which makes him super strong in this version of He-Man. Here's the Jawbridge. Tila trustingly waited and disguised Skeletor walked through the castle. So now Skeletor has an illusion that he's someone else. And here's a trap door from the toy. And here's a Skeletor posed inside. And that's a cool depiction of the chair from the Castle Grayskull toy. Here He-Man has his battle harness, so now he's impervious to harm. And Merman shoots stuff at him and it bounces right off him. Here's an ad for Hot Wheels. It's like a radio-controlled vehicles from Drive Command. A2 Firebird and some truck. New for 82, exciting new products from Western Publishing. So this is a recreation of what this looked like in the past. Pretty cool. Coming soon, a coloring book. A Masters of the Universe pop-up game. That's pretty awesome. What happened to that thing? Cross-Cell, Stratos, 5.5-inch figure. Merman, Tila, Zodak, and Wind Raider. Collect all of the Masters of the Universe adventure books. These were great. And the illustrations in these were fantastic. So He-Man dismounted from Battlecat and gets into the Jawbridge there. Oh, we're missing some pages. There you go. So He-Man uses his strength to pry open this door. Pretty awesome. And fight guys. He fights this animated Knight's Armor. More fighting. Tila's getting into the act. Skeletor climbs this bridge, which I think came... not bridge, ladder, which I think came with the toy, the Castle Grayskull toy. Here's more use of a laser cannon from Castle Grayskull. And a lunging punch at Skeletor. And Skeletor retreats. When Skeletor departed, the spirit of the castle appeared again. I must make sure that the halves of the power sword are never used, again used for evil. I shall send them into another dimension, where even Skeletor will have great difficulty finding them. Well, then where's He-Man's power sword then? Centuries may pass before the true king comes to claim his throne and fulfill the prophecy of the legend. Go then, Masters of the Universe, and fight evil wherever you find it. There you go. And here's more Cross-Cell. Here's the Battle Ram. I was blanking on the name before, but this thing was what He-Man was on in the previous story. He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Castle Grayskull, Fortress of Power and Mystery. Man-at-Arms, Master of Weapons. Beast Man, Skeletor's brutal henchman. Battlecat, Fighting Tiger. and Skeletor, Lord of Destruction. Each sold separately, subject to availability. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. This is Battle in the Clouds, where He-Man is curiously fighting Merman in the clouds. Here you go. Alfredo Alcala again. So this is... yeah, Mattel 1981, so this is an original one. Here's Stratos flying around. He's one of the original wave. There's He-Man on the front part of the battle ram, shooting Skeletor, and here's Merman in the background. We saw him in the last story. There's a lot more use of Merman, especially in the next one. So here's He-Man throwing Skeletor, and Merman fishing out Skeletor. And they're both shooting their swords at He-Man. It was far easier to just have the sword shoot stuff. Plus, it wasn't as violent as hacking and slashing, right? So He-Man falls from the battle ram. And here, Merman takes off the magic harness that gives He-Man his power in this iteration of He-Man. So He-Man calls to Battlecat, who has this harness here, dons it, and gets Man-at-Arms' help. I need your help. The situation is grave. So then Man-at-Arms uses the Wind Raider, and they go. Finally, they reach the end of their journey, but Merman had seen them coming, and he vanished amid the twisting clouds. I fear that your Battlecat never survived the climb, Man-at-Arms said to He-Man. With a whimper strangely out of character for its size and fierce appearance, Battlecat obeyed his master. When he turned to look back, He-Man had already entered Man-at-Arms' Wind Raider. So there you go. Merman tries to use the battle ram, but it shoots back at him. So He-Man and Man-at-Arms are in the Wind Raider. Pretty cool stuff. And they're flying up this mountain to battle Merman. And Merman seems to have mastered the battle ram. And he shoots at the Wind Raider. And Man-at-Arms falls out. And here He-Man and Merman clash in the sky. But then Stratos comes in for the save. Because this is a story that takes place in the air, eh? So he he headbutts Merman off the battle ram and pilots it. Pretty cool stuff. I think that picture of He-Man with his battle harness talking to, well, here and also here is a mistake. I think he's not supposed to have it because Merman took it. Here's the cross cell again. All the same cross cell as before. Alright. Let's take a look at the next one. This is the last one of the final of the original 4 mini books. They weren't quite mini comics yet. They were mini story books that were available with the purchase of a He-Man figure or playset. So this is Vengeance of Skeletor. Alfredo Alcala again. Fantastic art. It's 1981. Here Skeletor is like, of all the beings of the planet Eternia, none was as evil as the skull-faced Skeletor. There was no good in him. I thirst for vengeance, Skeletor shouted. Skeletor's mind was tormented by hated images. It is because of He-Man that I have time and again suffered shameful defeat. So he summons... so this is like Diamond Ray of Disappearance, which was the first He-Man episode. So he summons Beastman, he summons Merman. And he's like, we gotta get into this Castle Grayskull. And here comes He-Man on the battle ram, and they ambush him. And he punches back. They never sold this horse. That would have been cool. But it's weird seeing Teela without her tiara keeping all her hair, in place. It's all wild and stuff. So Merman throws He-Man into this ocean with all these creatures and stuff. And He-Man fights the creatures, and here comes Stratos for the save. Everyone shoots something. It's less violent than hacking and slashing or punching. You got the big handshake here. Tila with her horse that was never sold. That would have been cool. Like a golden horse thing. Here's Skeletor and Beastman and Merman. And they're all fighting here. Man-at-Arms sits with one out. They're trying to sell more Stratos figures here. And they shoot at Stratos. It's pretty cool stuff. More fighting. I guess all this violence in this mini book would be frowned upon today. But this was normal in the 80s. It's like, yeah, they're just fighting whatever. Good triumphs over evil. That's the big message here, right? Not, fight guys to get your way. So Skeletor punishes his henchmen. And here's another depiction of the spirit of Castle Grayskull as this like weird skull-faced ghost. It's pretty cool. So they're all shooting back at the villains as they retreat, as they always do in these mini books. And here's another cross-sell of the original wave of Masters of the Universe from 1981. And that's it for that. I hope you enjoyed this little quick stroll through these 4 original mini books that came with the 1981 Masters of the Universe toys. Till next time, take care.